Don in London, hello. It's January the 13th, 2013. Yeah. 13/01/2013. Sorry for... I was lost in thought because I could just hear the waste disposal truck turning up locally to pick up the empties from other people's drinking, and my videos are all about recovery from drinking too much. In other words, I'm in recovery from being addicted to alcohol, and my videos are a way of sharing experience, strength and hope on a daily basis about how it is to be in recovery and what helped me to find recovery. So what did help me find recovery, and I'm still listening for the bottle rattle about to happen? Well, it was a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, I just share about how it helps me on a daily basis with the 12 steps, principles to live life to get my freedom back. Freedom of choice to be me and learn who I am one day at a time. So it's not about getting to a destination where I will be the person I'm supposed to be. I am the person I'm supposed to be right now, and share what's going on in my life, my daily reflections or meditations, which are courtesy of the experience, strength and hope of other people and the wisdom shared by other people in fellowship. So today, 13th of January 2013, steps in action, and January is all about step 1 for me, which is about being powerless over alcohol, and if I were to take a drink again, life will get unmanageable. Because why would I want to indulge in something which takes away the reality of now? I know why I used to, and I talk about that in the videos, but today it's better to cope with reality, and if I can't cope, ask for help. Anyway, what is AA? I take the AA preamble from this little book of AA, and around the AA word, or the AA logo in the middle, you can just about see it. It says Unity, Service and Recovery. And this little book is a brief history of AA, but in the first page, or when you turn the flap over, or the cover over, it says the preamble of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I will share that. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. So that's the primary purpose. Help others to recover from alcoholism, which is why I do these videos. And I only speak for myself, not for anybody else. I can hear the bottles rattling now. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy. That's why I don't speak for AA. We speak where we can, as we choose. Neither endorses nor opposes any causes, but we all do. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So one fellowship with a primary purpose, and many people of many faiths, beliefs, understandings about their life and how it works. So my notes for today. Step 1, powerless, is the focus in January because there are 12 steps, 12 months, and when I first started doing these, it was all based on daily reflections from AA. So I've moved on a bit from then. But I haven't come away from that primary purpose, which is to share a message of experience, strength and hope. So AA, one fellowship, one purpose, many faiths and many solutions. So we hear our story somewhere along the line in AA, and then we start to see that there is a way out of the problem of addiction to alcohol, or to any other substance or behaviour that might be bothering us. And it came to me yesterday, our ego demands and says we are entitled. Fix me now. And we live in a world of fixing. That's what we used to do with drink and drugs. Drugs is not my story, particularly. I never got into them. I was too frightened. I felt we might take away control. But indeed, what did I find? Alcohol took control away, and I was an addict. Anyway, this notion of our ego demands, we feel entitled, fix me now, is where a lot of us get to when we get to AA, which is the last chance saloon. And hopefully we start to learn that humility, that is humility, being humble enough to ask. So humility asks without expectation, just simply, can you help me please? So if we approach situations with a can you help me when I need help, I've got a better chance of getting some help. The old way of life with our best friend alcohol, which would fix anything and everything, putting the world to rights from the bottom of a glass, and we sat in judgment on the world. We know the answers, but there we are, drunk and disabled. The new way of living with nothing in between me and the reality of today, and being able to cope in the moment of now, is where I get to. I'm living reality. And if I'm not coping, not able to understand what's going on around me, I can always ask for help today. Simple as that. It is not about being completely powerful, standing on my own 2 feet and telling the world how it ought to be. It's learning what the world is and how I'm fitting into it and what the possibilities are and the choices are. It's not about compliance as such. Compliance is, there's only one compliant thing I do. I don't drink today, and that's based on freedom to choose not to drink. What is the purpose of this wonderful fellowship called Alcoholics Anonymous? And I do feel it's a wonderful fellowship. I thought when I first got there it was the last chance saloon and a horrible place to be because it was robbing me of my best friend. Its primary purpose is to help anyone with a desire to stop drinking. Understand that sober we have a chance to live life on life's terms, just live reality. And then the big one in fellowship is the traditions of unity, service and recovery, then they being the 3 legacies. So unity, this is fellowship through the traditions, unity, service and recovery. Getting my personal freedom back by being in fellowship, which is all about working together, helping others and everyone living in recovery for just one day. What we encounter in fellowship today is as good as it gets, or as some say, and I say, WYSIWYG, which is a mnemonic for what you see is what you get. So on any given day, AA is what you see is what you get. Sometimes what we see can be very good and very helpful, very bad and very helpful, and very ugly and very helpful. So in other words, we see the good, bad and ugly of life, what's going on for people who share their experience, strength and hope. We don't fix ourselves in recovery, we learn the solutions to our problems on a daily basis, together in unity, service and recovery. So we do get our freedom back, and it is based on unity, service and recovery. It's not freedom to be a standard person, because there isn't such a thing. It's just to be the freedom of today. That's where we get to. And that's why I'm delighted to share that message. When I got my freedom back to make the choices which were right for me on a daily basis, I was going to be influenced by many people who share their experience, strength and hope on a daily basis. Listening to the wisdom of others is fantastic. Sometimes what I hear works not only for them in recovery, it gives me ideas and opportunities to try out new ways of living based on what others have found works for them. I don't feel like there is anything original to be said by anyone, anywhere, because it's already been said somewhere by someone else. At the same time, I have not heard it before. I have not heard it said like that before, and I didn't realise the wisdom might apply to my life. When I stopped judging what other people are doing and looking for the whole or get-out clauses, I started to hear the whole story and then be able to adapt many suggestions into my way of life. If there had been no personal freedom to be gained, if I had not got my personal choices back by being sober, I feel I would have perished a long time ago. So in other words, for me, it's imperative that individual freedom is the outcome. Personal freedom, yes, but also realizing that we are connected to the world And we can't have it all our own way based on the old way of life, which was, I want it fixed my way. It's actually about finding out what the best way forward is, based on what is possible, based on real life. And that doesn't mean we don't have a dream of what it could be. We know the steps to get there. Or if we don't know the steps to get there, we ask for help to see if it's possible or not possible today. Anyway, I'm probably jumping ahead a bit. You can see I'm enthusiastic about it, but when I first got to AA, my feelings were fear, pretending to be okay, shivering in a corner, trying to drink a cup of tea without it shaking so much I couldn't get the liquid into my mouth, and dunking a biscuit because that was the only food I had for the day. That's where I got to, and it was not pleasant. And it was if I got myself into this situation, not blaming anybody else, I was the one putting the alcohol into me, and I had everybody to blame for it. The world was against me. I needed time, and accepted the pain was going to be immense for a short period of time, trying to come out of this, and then find physically not being sick because I stopped drinking, just being physically sick because I was frightened of life. And it would change if I gave myself time to change. I wasn't dead yet, so where else could I go? Yes, that's where I got to. Yes, personal freedom based on fellowship principles of unity, service and recovery. And why do I bang on about this? Because you will find people doing their unity, service and recovery bit and suggesting all sorts of things to you, which may or may not apply. And many people see the solution to everything in fellowship. Well, indeed it might be for some, but some of us have other complaints and ailments which we need to deal with medical help of an emotional and physical nature. So you can't imagine your way out of an ailment, but you can have a positive attitude about the ailments you get or have, and it is to ask for help from the right people at the right time. And that's how it works for me. Who would have thought it? Joining something bigger than me. Joining something, which was the hardest thing to do. Joining in something bigger than me. A fellowship of wisdom shared. Fellowship, not in competition. The most diverse collection of people, and we are not competing with each other. Although some will have a competitive feeling about it. Yes, my recovery is better than your recovery. No, it's not. It's just a different form of recovery which suits you, and I can find something out about, is there something in there for me as well, in your wisdom? So there will be some people competing, but I don't see it that way. Unity, service and recovery is about sharing the truth of now. Today I feel able to tell the truth of what is going on in my life, and a lot of the time I hear what is going on in other people's lives too. As each person shares in a meeting, we develop experience of sharing and what it is to learn in the moment of now. It is an exciting and exhilarating process of gaining wisdom of life and then putting it into practice today. And I try to get to a meeting a day if I can, and I managed to get to one at lunchtime yesterday, and so many friends, and the person sharing at the beginning is someone I haven't seen for several years, yet we just got on immediately. And we had things to share at the end of the meeting. And somebody's birthday, belly button birthday as we call it, not their sobriety birthday, but their true birthday. And people talking about all sorts, but that's in the meeting, and not for here really. I can share in a general way. It was a darn good meeting. And what are the questions about independence? Independence in my own life, with freedom. This is what this fellowship has done for me. I am independent in my own life with freedom. Nobody telling me what to do in fellowship, yet at the same time the suggestion is to listen to the wisdom, not only within fellowship, listening to the wisdom available outside fellowship on a daily basis. Because what works in fellowship needs to work in real life, or what would be the point? So how do we make these principles work in real life? And the answer is, try them out. and what works will become apparent. It's not about coming up with the answers on our own to anything. It is about finding the answers to living life today. Yes, we do become more independent, and we keep our freedoms, and we try to be equal with each other, so there is no power being exerted over anyone, unless that's your choice, but it's going to be a hard life if that's what you do. Outside fellowship, we find we need to deal with people with issues of power, and our own need to be compliant in some ways to the guidelines we have around family, community and society. Other people often play to their own rule book, and that's okay. You just don't have to join in with them unless it is your freedom and your choice to do so today. So the element of freedom is always there, and if you cannot be compliant or somebody's getting on your case, what do? Use the steps of AA. It works. It really does. One of the biggest elements in recovery that I have learned over recent years is the element of interdependence. Everyone is interdependent in some way on other people, which is why the idea or notion of ego demands and feels entitled, and humility asks without expectation. When we set our expectations with humility, we are not looking for anything we feel other than being able to ask for help. So humility is the ability to ask for help without expectations. And by asking for help from other people, we power them up to help us if they can, and if they are inclined to. And if they are inclined to help us, we are starting a relationship with them. Empowering other people to be equal with us empowers both and starts a relationship. It may turn out to be good, it may turn out to be bad, and it might get plain ugly, depending on what we do and what they do. We will not always encounter good people. We will encounter bad people and very ugly people as well. The good news is we get out of dodge faster, rather than hanging around and finding ourselves in a bad situation for too long. Now, the other thing to remember there is, on any given day, we could be the good, the bad and the ugly that other people encounter. And remember how it was when we were drinking. Were we good, were we bad, or were we ugly? Or did people just avoid us as maybe just a nuisance, or absolutely devastating other people's lives by our behaviour? So we're coming from a background where we weren't compliant except for one thing. We complied with drinking and addiction because that's all we could do. And if you're not an addict, I don't expect anyone out there to even understand what it's like, because driven by that obsession to the point where physically, emotionally and spiritually we cannot stop, and then turning it around, people are going to be suspicious of us for quite a while. Anyway, how am I feeling today? I have a dear friend, indeed my best friend, who left a message on my phone answering machine last night, and I didn't get it till this morning. A very tired voice, and not able to hear every word, as their phone has a faulty microphone, hint hint. I didn't hear every word, I'm sorry, so I will have to call back soon. I felt the tiredness in their voice, and the strain and the need for sleep and relaxation. I wanted to call round immediately, scoop them up, bring them back here and apply tender loving care and try to fix them. Actually, I don't need to do that, although it would be good to try. And I know what would happen. I need to ask them first what they would like to do, and not contrive a solution I would want to administer on them. They probably have already made up their minds how to give themselves some tender loving care and to chill out and be happy for the rest of the day without my interference, which is perfectly good. I just like the fact that they will be happy, take their time and get some, just be able to chill out. That's all that counts, because I love them without conditions. Anyway, the final thing, old work habits die hard for me. I'm always awake around 4:30 in the morning, and that regime has long gone. It has. I would be up at 4:30, in the car by 5, off to the health gym, do my 2-hour workout, and then go to work, if I was working in London. But I don't know why it is, I can't break the habit. I can't go to the gym anymore, it's too expensive, but I wake up at 4:30, And this is what I do. Yet the early rise seems to be one of those patterns which will not break. To be waking up when the rest of the world is still asleep around me, and this applies wherever you are, I guess, whatever time zone, when the world is still asleep. It gives me time to hear the silence of the world, to enjoy seeing the night turn into day, and to have time to reflect and meditate. To reflect that I am alive, what I can and cannot do today, and that I have freedom. To meditate, simply to empty my mind of any thoughts and urgent demands I may be making on myself. I hear the world waking up and enjoy the feeling of connection to the world by listening, simply listening to the silence and then the thrum of the city waking up. And then I can ask myself, how am I feeling? Why? And then what to do next. That's it. Enough for today. At the end of my reflections, I share the Serenity Prayer. And it's a prayer or exhortation to good conscience or to God, or whatever it is that you believe in. One fellowship of many faiths. And I guess there are as many faiths in fellowship as there are people, because everybody has their own understanding of what works for them. So you can be a believer, an agnostic, an atheist, a Buddhist, whatever religion you come from or believe in, and works for you, or simply good conscience. Bearing in mind, a good conscience can go bad very quickly without a bit of maintenance. So the Serenity Prayer helps me to good conscience. What is the good of the situation next? And a way back to peace and serenity, and the opportunity for insanity and old ways of behaving, where we think we know better than other people, and trying to impose ourselves on the world, is really unhelpful. But we will go back there when we get angry, because every feeling is available in recovery. Good feelings and bad feelings and ugly feelings. Get them all. It's how we feel, knowing those feelings, how they impact on our thinking, and what we do in terms of action. So with a good conscience, we're better able to get back to sanity, rather than the madness of bad and ugly feelings. We need to recognise them. They're real, but they don't necessarily mean that's the truth of what we need to do. You know, we're not murderers, although homicidal thoughts do cross our minds from time to time, and they're not very good for us because we get them. But if we can nip it in the bud and say, whoa, I'm on a path of insanity that way, or do I want peace and serenity? Now, peace and serenity comes from action, not by just thinking it. It's what we do in action. That's what we can judge our behaviour on, and whether conscience is working for us in that moment. We're all capable. Good people are capable of bad things, and bad people are capable of good things. It just depends on the experience that we encounter at the moment of now. So the Serenity Prayer helps with can do, can't do, very quickly, helping me to a place of conscience rather than retaliation. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You guessed it, in the moment, in the hour, or in the moment, in the minute, in the hour, any time of day, and just for today.